Okay.
Probably have 30 minutes of material, so if you need to take more, please feel free.
Oh, no, 30 minutes. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, that's good to know. I'll fill it out a little bit more then. That's good to know.
Yep. So
And then,
yeah. Go ahead, Chuck.
and then, I mean, I could do a little wrap up too about our local initiative. The introduction here is going to be in general, and then so having a little time for our local would be terrific.
Okay.
So we'll be good. Are people hearing us now, Jen?
Yeah, they should be. There's only one attendee so far, so there's 4 of us.
Oh, okay. And welcome, attendee. Or
Robert.
we'll get a few more. Oh, I guess I can click that button and see who's who here a little bit too.
Yep, so we'll just wait. Welcome everyone who's joining. We're just waiting for folks to join and we'll get started at the top of the hour. I think while we're waiting, Chuck, I'm going to try switching to phone audio. My internet is not good today.
Okay.
So,
Sounds fine.
Yep.
Give her a shot.
Okay, I'm back, Chuck.
Okay. So Jen, question. I'm seeing the 3 panelists as participants, but I don't see the other folks. Should I be able to see them listed?
Yeah, do you see panelists and then attendees right next to panelists? You might have to click that button.
If I click there. I get it. Yep, got it. Oh, well. Hello, Katie, Jane, and Jeffrey. I know all of you. This is wonderful. Thanks for joining us. All right, Jen, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I see you're getting the screen up here, and welcome everyone to the Driftless Area Land Conservancy and Dodgeville Public Library Energy Future Speaker Series. This will be the 4th, this is our 4th in a series of 6 webinars on different energy topics, and we're so glad you can join us. I'm going to give you a brief introduction first. By the way, I'm Chuck Tennyson, and I'm the community organizer at Driftless Area Land Conservancy. We also have Jennifer Flipiak is our executive director, and she very kindly is acting as our tech support person today, and we're very appreciative of that. So things will run smoothly, much more smoothly than if we hadn't had Jen support. With that, I'd like to, this whole series has been part of our effort at building clean, aiming toward making a clean energy district in the Iowa County area, perhaps for Iowa County specifically. And so we're hoping that folks that are following along here might be interested in supporting this effort that we're working toward. And a clean energy district is a concept that is modeled after the soil and water conservation districts that were formed back in the 30s when there was a crisis of sorts in the agricultural community because of the Dust Bowl issues and loss of soil, and the result and compounded by the Great Depression that was happening at that time. And so local entities formed themselves into soil and water districts that we still, conservation districts that we still have today. And when we had a similar situation after the Great Recession 10, 15, or 12 years ago, folks in northeast Iowa looked at that model and thought this would be a good model for trying to help the agriculture communities and the small towns in their county. And so the purpose of developing these clean energy districts was twofold. They are to help retain the wealth, the economic prosperity in the local community, and also have environmental stewardship of the land. And we have kind of a new compounding issue now these days with the issues with carbon in our atmosphere and in our oceans and so on, excessive carbon. So the clean energy districts are, there are twofold purposes to address both those issues by reaching the goals they're aiming for, and they do this by fostering sustainability in the local communities to retain the wealth that's already generated there instead of sending that out to energy companies elsewhere, and then by advancing energy efficiency at home and helping locally owned renewable energy businesses and contractors and such spread their message and help them build their constituency. So that's what we're aiming for when we say we have a group of active folks that are, I'll talk a little bit more about that after our guest speaker is done, and how you might be able to get involved if you're interested. We're actively moving toward building that energy district. So, and I should say here, I am not Dick Cates, who you see on the picture here, nor his wife. Dick is one of Driftless Area Land Conservancy board members. He usually gives this opening pitch, who was unable to do so. And sorry for not making that clear. I'm not the good-looking guy you were seeing there. But with that, we would like to introduce our main speaker, and so grateful to have Kimberly Johnston with us, who is the Senior Marketing and Manager and Strategic Developer for Slipstream. Slipstream has a local office in Madison, and it creates, tests, delivers, and scales the next generation of energy efficiency and renewable energy programs that move us farther and faster toward a clean energy economy. Slipstream partners with utilities, local and state governments, regulatory agencies, and other organizations to inspire new solutions to big energy challenges. With 40 years of experience demonstrating the what's next in programs and technologies, Slipstream is an established and trusted trailblazer in the industry. Sounds like just the kind of partner we are hoping to work with as we move forward with those very same issues. And with that, we're very grateful to have you here, Kimberly Johnston. and your discussion and explanation of the PACE program. And Kimberly, the screen is yours. Please take it away.
Thank you. Are you seeing my opening slide?
We are.
Perfect. My name is Kim Johnston. I work with PACE Wisconsin. It's a statewide commercial property assessed clean energy program. And basically what it is, it's an innovative public-private partnership that leverages private capital to provide property owners with access to low-cost, long-term financing for clean energy projects. The story kind of begins about 7 years ago when the Wisconsin Counties Association, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, Green Tier Legacy Committee, the Wisconsin State Energy Office, of course, Slipstream, along with Von Briesen and Roper, were looking at some problems that we were experiencing in the state and figured out that PACE was a great solution for many of them. They were viewed by stakeholders as one of the best economic development tools that Wisconsin could achieve to help use or help achieve the energy goals that it really had in mind. CPACE or commercial, yes.
Kimberly, I'm already going to interrupt because I neglected to tell people that if they look at the bottom of their screen, you should see an icon that says chat. And we welcome folks to click on that if you have a question or a comment for Kimberly as she moves along. We will kind of collect those, and I'll be monitoring those. And if we see some that really could be answered just with the slide that she's just showing us or something, we'll interrupt like I just have and see what comments she would have with that. So please feel free to add your comments to the chat box. And with that, Kimberly, take it away again, please.
Great. And Chuck, I will let you be the chat monitor, if you will, if that sounds good. CPACE, it's an abbreviation for Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy, is a tax assessment financing mechanism for energy efficiency, water conservation, renewable energy, and now brownfield redevelopment also. CPACE makes it available for low-cost, long-term financing projects. It's available in 36 different states, including the District of Columbia now, and it was enabled by the Wisconsin Statute 66.0627. Today, we have 45 different member counties, which accounts for 80% of the state's population that have joined PACE Wisconsin. And the reason that it's unique in the state is that it's uniform. So whether you're in Dane or Ozaukee County, you have the same type of guidelines and transaction documents for property owners, because many property owners go outside the county guidelines. So this way they have a standardization across the state. Slipstream is Wisconsin's not-for-profit administrator for the program. And one unique thing about PACE Wisconsin is that it is an open market system. And what that means is that it's available to all capital providers. Right now, we do have many local lenders like McFarland State Bank, Monona State Bank, State Bank of Cross Plains and Farmers, along with regional lenders and larger capital sources that are nationwide. We do have that information on the PACE Wisconsin website, and you can go out and take a look to see who is currently participating. If you think that you should have a local lender also in participation in the program, we encourage you to go ahead and forward them information too. So what kind of projects are eligible? We have a number of different types of industries that are available that can use PACE financing. Everything from office to industrial, multifamily and retail, hospitality, which is hotels, manufacturing and industrial, institutional, not-for-profit, and agriculture. So the only groups that couldn't use PACE are regular consumers. So this does not work for residential properties, and it also doesn't work for government-owned properties. But when looking at these different types of properties that you could be using PACE financing, what types of projects do they use? This can be used on new construction, renovation, adaptive reuse, refinancing, or equipment installation. it helps when you see things, I think, a little bit. So the list of eligible improvements include energy and water saving efficiencies. So everything from lighting systems, building controls, building envelope improvements, HVAC, which are furnaces, boilers, and chillers, heat pumps, motors, variable speed drives, and low flow fixtures and heating recovery systems. Now we also include renewable energy in the program. So what we'll talk about a little bit later is solar PV, battery storage, biofuel, and wind. Last year, we did add one additional feature to the PACE offerings. We did add brownfield revitalization projects to PACE sourcing. So you're able to finance site assessment, remediation, lead and asbestos abatement, demolition, and standard site prep. You're able to also roll in soft costs for brownfields work that needs to be done with your property. And that usually has a term of up to 20 years. I think people can see it visually a little bit better than just in words. So on the left-hand side, you see that it helps you increase the bottom line while lowering your energy costs at the same time. Some of the benefits for commercial properties is that you can finance up to 100% of the eligible costs. It is non-recourse financing, so it frees up equities for other priorities. It basically gives you more operating capital. It's a fixed rate, so it can last up to the useful life of the measure, up to 20 to 30 years in the case for solar. It yields a positive cash flow, and it helps boost property value. Now, sometimes tenants share in the cost and the savings, and it transfers to the new owner upon sale. But most importantly, it reduces energy and water costs. Now, I put this here so it's an example, a very large example of what a PACE capital stack does look like. And when people are looking at it, they often have questions. How does this work with utility programs that I'm using? Can I use it with PACE? Absolutely. How about historic tax credits or other tax credits I'm getting from the city? Absolutely. It just doesn't happen to be in this diagram. But what PACE is that it replaces the very expensive mezzanine debt that some commercial property owners have to use. So it comes in at a market rate at half the cost of a mezzanine debt at what usually runs at 12%. So it brings the cost of capital down, and it basically allows commercial property owners to finance the updates to their property they've been waiting to make.
Kimberly, I'm
Yes.
going to interrupt with my own question here. If you could go back to the previous slide.
Sure. And that is a rather large example, but it's a rounded number.
That's fine. I don't know what the term mezzanine debt refers to. If you could explain, please. Appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. That is part of the capital stack that usually has to build with a bridge. So PACE financing is basically taking that part. You have your owner's equity in your property. They may have a mortgage debt that I'm going to go into a little bit later that talks about having to get your mortgage sign off if you decide to do a capital project. So probably the next slide might explain it a little bit better when it goes into it. So with owner equity, you already have equity in your building. You most likely have, and again, these are larger numbers, but they're rounded numbers, so they were easier to explain. So they're sitting on a mortgage that they may have, and again, these are rather large numbers at $12 million. They may come in with a PACE financing, and we can call this maybe a multi-family building or an office building. The PACE financing, which only covers the cost of something that would save energy or water. So it won't cover anything else that might be cosmetic that doesn't save energy. So oftentimes I get questions, well, will it cover a redesign? Nope, that has no energy value, unless of course it's a window or solar on top of the roof, but that is not aesthetic. So with financing terms, those aren't set by the program, those are set by the market. So your loan terms, which could be either from 5 to 30 years for a full amortization. And what that means is it also has to be the life of the usable measure. So if your solar panels will last for 30 years, you can be financed up to 30 years for the solar panels. If you have an HVAC system that only lasts 20 years, you're looking at a loan term for most likely up to 20 years. The loan sizes that we've seen so far in Wisconsin have been 250,000 up to our largest loan this within the last, I want to say, year has been right around the $8 million mark. The PACE to loan value is in between 5 to 35%. And some of the requirements that we have in the program is, as I was talking about a little bit, is why we've been explaining the mortgage portion, that you do need to get your mortgage lender consent first. That there's also an energy assessment. And if you have a project over 250,000, you do need a savings guarantee. Now, the security on that project is going to be the property tax assessment. And the term of the life, or how long the loan is how long is the useful life of the equipment. It doesn't extend past that amount. So for those who'd like to do longer loans, that isn't possible. Then your loan to cost, they can finance 100% of the cost of the energy or water saving measures that they're updating or putting into their building. So what are some key milestones? You have to have PACE in your county, first of all. So if they have not adopted an ordinance, that does need to happen. You have to have an engaged property owner, so someone who wants to do a PACE project. They have to select a capital provider. They have to be one of the capital providers in the PACE program. Those individuals have been vetted and are listed there. They do have certain limits that they will have listed along with their contact information on the website. And then you do need to get your mortgage lender's consent. And what that basically means, we've also attached some resources there from the CPACE Alliance, but we really want to maintain that relationship with your mortgage lender, because PACE project actually improve the lender's collateral. So if you are sitting on, and I'll explain it a little bit later, but if you're sitting on a very old property and you have an old boiler or windows, the reinvestment not only is energy saving and cost savings, but it also improves the property value. And at the same time, it's going to be improving their cash flow because they're spending less money on their utility bills. And one important point is that if there was a default, PACE financings don't accelerate. The lender is only ever subordinate to delinquent payments. So they still have first position in the mortgage stack. So people question, so what has been happening in our states? And we do have a quick review of the state of PACE from 2019. We did 16 PACE funded projects in 2019, which was 21.3 million in direct investments, which is 3 times the amount that we did in 2018. We doubled the statewide clean energy benefits over our levels from 2018 and increased water conservation 5 times. We also added 11 new counties to the programs, which brings us up to today's number of 45. At the close of 2019, we'd done 26 projects, which was almost a little over $30 million in direct investments in clean energy improvements, which is impressive. But what really matters is the number of MMBTUs. So how much energy did we save, which was over 63,000. And for the water conservation, it added to 16.3 million gallons of water saved. Now with COVID-19, we were curious what would happen with the PACE environment and if there would still be projects. What we have found is that not only is there a place for PACE still with economic development, it is one of the tools that hasn't been affected, which we find has been great for our property owners. Currently, right now, we have done 2 healthcare programs, or 2 healthcare facilities, 3 hospitality organizations, which are hotels, 3 industrial, 3 mixed use, 4 multifamily, and 4 offices. Actually, since last week, we've added 2 new projects, which kicks us up over 33 projects. We were responsible for using a portion of PACE financing to refinance the old Oscar Mayer plant in Madison, Wisconsin, which is kind of an icon. I believe it has been around for more than 100 years, and hopefully will bring jobs back to the north side of town now. It is a multi-stage redevelopment, and they will be using PACE financing with both the first and second phases, which is something to look forward to. Not only that, we are seeing commercial property owners still sending in applications for small to mid to large size loans. So it looks like this is one of the financing options that is still available when perhaps some other capital resources is drying up.
Kimberly, may
Yes.
I interrupt again, if I may?
Please do.
So we have a question, and I think I'm just going to go back to just to kind of a baseline understanding of this whole program. The question that came in is I believe Iowa County is a PACE county. Is that correct?
It is.
It is. Okay. So that's where we're sitting in Iowa County. And I'm going to just take a minute or 2 here to describe what I think my understanding at a very basic level. You've given us lots of detail at a very basic level
Sorry.
what this program does, and you tell me where I'm wrong if you would please. So if I'm a property owner, and I've been thinking about doing some improvements to the building that would fall under the categories that you described: energy efficiency, perhaps solar, water, better water conservation, and cleaner water, in any of those categories that followed. Then, and I go through that checklist of I'm in the right county. My mortgage lender approves of it. I've talked with the PACE people. I'm not sure what that other check was. Then I could secure I have to find my lender, and one of the approved lenders. I could secure a loan through the PACE program, and the collateral, maybe if that's the right word for that, is my property tax assessment. That's what property assessed clean energy stands for, that it goes on the property tax. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten the loan, I get the work done. And is it true? My understanding is, in general, what the goal is that that when those improvements are done, I will be saving more money right away than that extra cost on my property tax. So I'm kind of ahead of the game right from the start, or close to it, because the amount of money I'm saving will more than cover the cost of those improvements spread over the years of the loan. Is that more or less correct?
That is correct. And in some cases, it will actually put more money in their pocket. And I have some case studies that walks it through, and hopefully some people are visual learners, and a lot of what I'm talking about is maybe more complex financing than people are used to. So we did break it down with a few different projects, some big, some small, that shows the PACE financing, and then the annual savings and the lifetime savings. So you can see how many years it would make to make up the initial savings. So if they, I can start kind of, the next one is, for example, Hotel Indigo. Their loan was 1.5 million, which is it's a larger loan, but their annual savings is $90,000 in utility costs. Their lifetime savings is going to be 2.4 million. So it's well outside of the investment. So it's going to be providing more operating capital. They're going to have more cash on hand as a business, theoretically. Which is why if you're over that $250,000 loan mark, there needs to be an energy assessment. So if it does not work out that they're going to be saving more than what they're investing in their property, it doesn't qualify as a PACE loan. Now, technically, you can roll some soft cost into that and other methods. So, for example, like the brownfield remediations, when you do roll that in, that won't equal out, obviously. But for example, we have the Hotel Indigo, which is probably on screen right now. It was a 102-year-old building. If anyone's ever been downtown in Madison, it's the old Mott's paint plant, which took up a full city block. It implemented some large energy and water efficiency improvements. So what they are looking at over a yearly basis is, since their PACE financing was large, their annual savings and their lifetime savings is going to be very large too. So what they're planning on saving over the lifetime of that loan is 2.4 million, which is much more than their investment of 1.5 million. But the average consumer should be seeing more money freed up in their utility bills, so they have more money to either invest in their business or perhaps other properties. Another example. Okay, do you have another question?
No, I was going to say that was a perfect, for me
good.
anyway, an excellent follow-up, because you had the numbers right there that showed the environmental savings, the cost savings over the over the loan and so on. So good. I'm looking forward to this next one. Go ahead.
Great. And sometimes these are large numbers, but we do have some smaller numbers too. So that first one that we looked at was 1.5, which is quite large. The second one is closer to 600,000. It's a multifamily building in Outagamie County. It was from a local lender. The term of the loan is 20 years. They're going to be saving $35,000 a year over the course of 20 years. So they're going to obviously make up their investment. It will take them a little longer than the first example, but again, the investment dollar amount is much lower too. So how are they gaining these savings? So the improvements they invested in were the building shell, the LED lighting, low flow fixtures, HVAC system, and the water heater. So the benefits, their selling advantage and how they're positioning in the marketing is that they are a green, upscale downtown multifamily property, and that's how they're selling it. They also got a low cost of capital. So as I mentioned, it's when you're able to get a longer term loan, a 20-year loan at a fixed rate, that is very appealing to commercial property owners. And it's also non-recourse to the borrower. So that goes on their property tax. Let's see another example. This is, again, some bigger numbers, so probably maybe not the best case to use, but here at least it shows out that the debt stack can always look a little bit different. So you might have, again, these are large numbers. You might have $3 million in, you might use $2 million of PACE equity, then you might get a construction loan. So PACE equity never is the same amount. It is available, and the consumer can choose to use it how it fits in best with their debt stack. So I think it's pretty flexible and can be used in multiple different situations. Now, this example is I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll interrupt again if I may,
No, go for it.
Kimberly. Thank you. So I'm picturing downtown Dodgeville,
Mhm.
and the street lined with small businesses. You know,
Mhm.
not these the ones you've shown you've shown us
I
from
know.
the Madison area. That's fine because they're very illustrative of the program. But so say someone, a small business owner, just has one building
Mhm.
downtown that wants to do some energy improvements, and you had a $250,000 benchmark for something or other.
Mhm.
But the small business owner, if the loan was only going to be a couple $100,000, would they be eligible to apply to the PACE program?
They would. I want to say that our lowest PACE loan so far, I think, was $150,000. What I tossed up here on our on the screen now is um, it's a nice example of what was used in Spooner, Wisconsin. They put rooftop solar on their ice skating rink, and there's nothing more Wisconsin than putting solar on the ice skating rink if you if you understand the parallels there. But what they've done is they've invested $207,000 in PACE financing, and over the course of the loan, which will go out in between 20 and 30 years, they're going to save over $1.1 million in energy costs, which is great to see something happen like that in a small town. Um, Another example I don't believe I have in my deck, but it is a small inn in Door County, and they also did put a very small array of solar on their building, along with windows, lighting, and I want to say that was approximately $150,000 in smaller loans, but it will most likely take them a little bit longer to reach their out-of-pocket costs with the yearly cost to repay the loan. So I think it does work. Where we see maybe in smaller towns, it's worked. In Verona has done a multi-use space there. That has been quite nice. Now that was a smaller loan too. I want to say that's below 500,000. So there is something to be said for. We do have, let me see, I will scroll through these really fast to see if I can find something for you. We do have a portal that you can go into for applications, just a pre-application to see if you might be qualified, if what you're looking at might be a project that would fit with PACE Wisconsin or not.
I'll interrupt with a question again, if I may.
Absolutely.
We in the city of Dodgeville is contemplating a new library. This would be a new construction. Would I be correct in saying that would not qualify under this program? Is that correct?
That's correct. If it's city owned. The reason the Civic Center in Spooner, Wisconsin counted is because it was owned by it was privately owned. So let's see, a neighboring area like maybe the Verona Theater Guild, which is technically not owned by the city, but is it has a more complicated ownership structure. So if they wanted to do something with their building, that would be something that could happen too.
Mm-hmm. Does new construction, if it's not municipal owned, does that come under PACE at all?
Absolutely. New construction, retrofit. We are actually doing a lot of hospitality new construction, multifamily condos, apartment complexes, where it might be businesses on the bottom, then apartments or condos on the top. Those are all new construction, and they're only using PACE funding for the energy efficiency pieces. So the lighting, the low flow fixtures, the perhaps if they put solar on top. If they don't, also the windows and the HVAC system qualifies for that too. So people are learning about the program and figuring where and how to use PACE.
Excellent. Well, and my questions may have scooted you ahead through some of your slides.
I'm so
Feel free to
sorry.
do.
Are you sure? All right.
Yeah, we're good. Let's learn about it.
All right.
Thank you.
And again, some of these are larger loans, but it's interesting to know people don't often think about PACE when they think about healthcare, but we've definitely funded some senior housing both in Janesville and also in Columbia County. This project that we're looking at right now is a new construction. It's a 52-unit memory care mixed-use property. What they're claiming for improvements are the low flow fixtures, HVAC, building shell, and the benefit for them is that it's going to help them keep their clean energy goals. It's a lower cost of capital for a longer period of time, and what did they invest? Close to $600,000 with McFarland State Bank. And you can see the water savings over the course of the life of those measures will be 1.3 million, or that's 1.3 million gallons a year, and then 80 tons of CO2 a year. That's quite impactful, especially right on the Wisconsin River right there, where I think that nestled right into the woods that you need to be cognizant of your carbon footprint. We did talk about Spooner and the ice skating rink already, so I will skip them. But we kind of broke it down into different categories. Some of these projects I've talked about. New construction, we've seen a lot of hotels go in that have been new construction. A lot of their measures are the same. Hot water heaters, air conditioning, fixtures, low flow faucets, windows, wall construction, insulation. The adaptive reuse or renovation, a lot of those have been hotels too, both in Madison and up in Green Bay. Then renovation and replacement in Waterloo, Wisconsin. This is a smaller loan on top of office building. They did replaced an extremely old HVAC system and lighting units both in the parking lot and in the building. Along with Uniroyal, they did roof upgrades and lighting too. Because they are a manufacturer, they had quite an investment in the lighting inside. So their PACE financing was $355,000, a little bit over. And the course of their life, they're going to save $989,000 plus. So you can see the investment far outweighs the cost of not doing something like this. Then with construction, new construction, adaptive reuse, again, there was the Velocity, which is a project in Verona. That was a smaller $222,000 PACE financing that has an HVAC system, windows and lights. That is on a smaller multifamily piece. And then we have a loan out in Racine, which is basically reuse of an old school building into apartments. And they replace the LED lighting, the roof, and the HVAC there too. So we're seeing some of our smaller ones are right at the 250, 230, 249. And when they're doing that, they're making the investment in the HVAC system on the property. Let's see. So that brings us to the resources that are available. So the PACE Wisconsin website has some valuable resources for people, both for lenders. It shows lenders that are participating. If there are any lenders on the line that are interested in the program, please do read a section that is specifically for you on the website. Registered contractors or professionals, those are individuals that do work with the solar programs implementation of the different measures. There's also a section for contractors. Then we have a project center, an application portal for people who are interested in applying or pre-applying to see if their project might even be eligible. They can quickly fill out this little piece here. It says pre-application, just let us know what you're up to or what you're thinking. And someone can get back to you and let you know if it's even an eligible project or if it might be a good fit. And again, my name is Kim Johnston. I work with PACE Wisconsin. I am a true believer in the program. I've been working with it for about 7 years. We do have a program administrator, Jason Stringer, who is the mastermind behind most of these working deals that we have in Wisconsin. But we are here to answer any questions that you may have or to get you any resources that you may need.
Well, I'm going to throw you my own question here again.
Sure.
Kimberly, thank you. So you and I chatted earlier today when we were getting ready for this webinar, and you sort of just said this again, but that you think this program is one of the, I mean, a very, very good or one of the best ways. I don't know if I don't want to put words in your mouth for energy and dollar savings that's available in Wisconsin. Do you care to elaborate on that? You know, because
Sure.
of your experience with it.
Sure. And again, it's one of the ways that communities, it's another tool in the economic development toolkit that we have in our counties. When we are looking for ways to attract new businesses, this is one of the things that you can mention that is available in the state of Wisconsin or in your county specifically. This is one of the things that when layered in with credits or historic tax credits, utility programs that we're already currently running in the state, not PACE Wisconsin, but that commercial property owners can take advantage of, I think it is just one of the pieces that make a really strong and robust economic development offering.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just to expand on that a little bit, I mean, when I first became a little familiar with this program, just reading about it on your website, as a not a business owner or a director of a nonprofit or any of the organizations that could benefit from this, but as a pretty naive layperson, it just seemed to me that there would be no reason someone who's going to do a renovation, if they're in the right county and if they're in the county that has PACE, or a renovation or a new construction, is there any reason they should not investigate this? It seems like I'm not finding a better term than a no-brainer to me.
It actually is a no-brainer. And again, we found that that there is usually, you're seeing that the projects at the $250,000 mark and upwards is probably the threshold. There really is no reason not to. It's a new product, it's a new program. It's kind of spreading across the country, if you will. And we've been helping other states just use materials that we have for best practices to help people move faster with clean energy implementation. But we have had a number of property owners that have used it once that plan to use it again. So people that may own developers specifically that may have projects that in the queue for Wisconsin that have used it in one county, plan on using it in more than one county. So it's the thing that they like is that it's standardized across the state. So no matter if you again use it in Dane or Allegheny or another county, it's all the same rules. And it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same organization you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any sense that, or if do you know anywhere in the country where this is expanding to individual home or, yeah, I guess it would be individual home ownership. Is there thought of that or movement toward that at all that you're aware of?
There are some states throughout the U.S. that include ResiPACE or residential PACE. At this point, Wisconsin, or specifically PACE Wisconsin, is only open to commercial products because a lot of the business owners will have their property or their business for an extended period of time versus the average homeowner or a young to middle-aged homeowner may have numerous homes through their lifetime versus the Spooner Civic Center will probably not change hands in the next 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well,
So-
that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so those, for example, you know, the Oscar Mayer property or the owners of that property, some of the other larger pieces of the hotels, they most likely don't change hands often.
Right. I'm just going to remind listeners that if you have a question, please type it into the chat box that you'll find at the bottom. You should be able to find at the bottom of your screen. I don't see any there currently, but we'll give you a little time to, with that reminder to do that. And while we're giving some time for that, Kimberly, we're, you know, as we said at the very beginning, we're working on developing this energy district, hopefully for the Iowa County area, the greater Iowa County area. It seems, and we've been, as our steering committee has been talking about, what could we do? What would we be doing as an energy district? How would we be helping both the retaining dollars in our local community and being good environmental stewards? It seems that promoting this program and letting people become aware of it, which seems maybe is a bit of a challenge for you folks so far, that people just maybe don't know about it. Would you suggest that that might be an avenue we'd spend some time and energy on?
Absolutely. We have been working with economic development groups throughout the state in the participating counties to provide them information, to provide links to websites, to provide speakers or tables at economic development events or information for packets for new businesses that are interested in looking at communities that PACE is one tool to help them get there.
Very, very good. We've got a fresh question from Dave. Thank you. Is it correct that PACE is not available for nonprofits and churches?
That is not the case. PACE is available for churches. We have not done or financed a church or a ag project yet, but agriculture is also available. So the answer to the question is churches are one of the not-for-profits that could use PACE financing. And I'm going to answer my own question. We are also looking at a solar array on an agricultural operation in southern Wisconsin. So we'll see how that progresses. But it is also another use case we just haven't had a PACE application for yet.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. Another question. Thank you, Jane. I'm disappointed by city-owned buildings being unable to participate in this great resource. Why is that?
Because this, if for collection purposes, you can't collect from yourself. So if a loan were to default, you're defaulting on your own ability to collect that bad debt.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to, I don't see any other questions at the moment, and as people think about that a little bit more, I'm just going to thank everybody again, not that I'm ready to close up here, but I'm seeing lots of familiar names, so grateful that you're here, and a few that aren't, so we're glad you're learning along with us. Just going to give you a very brief update on where we are with this local energy district effort. Couple of things. So our group of activists has been meeting regularly now since early spring, and we are working in a couple different avenues. One is to we're not ready to formulate a formal energy district yet. Well, there you go. Thank you, Jennifer, for getting up on our website here of where we're heading. This is the DALK website. Driftless Area Land Conservancy has been a great supporter of our efforts at moving this forward. But we have a group of activists and a steering committee that's working together with us. This is not exclusively a DALK initiative, although the speaker series, along with the public library, has been. Anyway, backtracking, we've been meeting regularly as a steering committee. We're working on formulating a framework for how we will move forward as this steering committee. We're proposing, we're going to have our group decide for sure, but we're looking at calling ourselves a Clean Local Energy Alliance for now. And as we learn about energy districts and formulate that formal nonprofit status that the energy districts in Northeast Iowa have. So we're not ready for that leap yet, but we are getting our hands in the dirt, and we want to move forward and do it in an organized fashion. So we're working that way. We're also thinking about what some of these initial projects we might do as an energy alliance. And we're considering different options concerning maybe LED light bulb exchanges, for example, or helping to promote some local energy initiatives that we are aware of going on in the Iowa County area, supporting them, helping advertise them, perhaps helping advertise programs like the PACE program. So we would welcome anyone who has some time and energy and is interested in this topic. Please get in touch with me, and I'm easy to find on the DALK website, the Driftless Area Land Conservancy website. And we'd be happy to have your ideas and whatever energy you have that you want to put forward with us. Otherwise, with that, I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat box, and would like to remind people that this has been recorded. Please spread the word that it will be on our website. It might take us into next week before it gets up there, but we'll be having this available for people to review. And thank you, Jennifer, for showing our next two, our last two programs in this Future Energy Series, speaker series. We'll be learning about utility bills and where your money goes currently. For those of us, I think we're probably all Alliant customers, I'm guessing. We have the Director of Citizens Utility Board speaking with us on June 11th, as you see here. We'll have the registration up for that next week also. And then our final speaker will be, here, you can look in the chat. Thank you, Jennifer, for putting my email address in the chat if you need that, so you can access that and look. And the final speaker will have Natural Climate Solutions. This is with Katie Demetz from the Wisconsin Academy of Science, Arts, and Letters. It's a little, the name is a little mysterious if you don't know what that's referring to. The topic is carbon sequestration, maybe in plainer terms, how we can advance that. Also, I see one more question in the chat here, just a minute. Dave would like a quick comment. We're a little bit off topic here about the transmission line issue. I think to keep this webinar focused on moving with clean energy issues, I think I'll not diverge on that, but would be happy to have a side conversation at another time. But appreciate your interest, Dave. Other than that, I think we're ready to be done. We want to thank you so much, Kimberly Johnston, and we will continue to spread the word about the good work you're doing.
Thanks for having me talk about PACE.
All right. Everybody, soak in some of this good soaking rain and have a good rest of the day, and we'll stay in touch.
Thanks, Chuck.